Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We're back again with more Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. This time, I want to make a build based on Earl Simmons, Dogman X DMX. You know, I'm in my late 30s, and most of the people from my generation, when they talk about who they feel like are their top five, you know, or the greatest rappers who ever lived, they talk about Tupac, they talk about Biggie, because they grew up in the era when those rappers became very, very big. But I was homeschooled as a child, and I was not allowed to listen to rap music when I was a kid. My parents were wholly against it. It felt like it was absolutely horrible and poison in our community. So it was not allowed to be played in our house. I did not get into rap music until I got to college. And when I got to college, the person who was the largest on the scene and really represented for hip hop was DMX. That was right around the time when Rough Riders Anthem came out. And I loved DMX. I thought he was just an amazing artist, and everything that I felt like I would be if I was put in that same situation. You know, it wasn't just that he had great lyrics and great delivery. It was also that he seemed so loyal to the people around him, that he was lifting up and giving a lot of other brothers and sisters opportunities to shine that they might not have had otherwise. When you look at the people that were in DMX's orbit, who were then able to make careers of their own, from Swiss Beats to Eve to Dragon, the Locks, like all these people, he was more than willing to bring them into what he was doing, allowing them to shine and then be able to spin off and make money on their own. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. And the way he just carried himself, like you know, nowadays when you see these rappers and they call themselves so hard and gangsters, they're wearing bulletproof vests, they got 5 or 6 different guns, they're surrounded by 12 different people in their entourage. DMX used to be in neighborhoods that were not his own, out and about by himself, no vest, doing interviews with a reporter he didn't even know. Like brothers just walking up with a camera like, yo dog, I see you, would you mind, could we talk for a bit? You know, and if he said yes, he would go ahead and just do it. It was just a totally different way of carrying yourself, and a totally different type of hip hop star that we really hadn't seen before. And I loved that brother. Even as an adult, even being someone who had a solid enough foundation, and I understood I never wanted to emulate his life. I never wanted to emulate his music, because I understood he was going through a lot of messed up things, and he did a lot of messed up things that I would never want to be involved in, but I still just appreciated him and a lot of the things that he stood for, you know. And when I think of the word rowdy, I think of DMX, like from the barking to the live shows with him running back and forth and giving his heart and soul for the audience. Just everything about DMX, from his personal to his private life. I feel like rowdy is the perfect word to describe him. And yet at the same time, he could have very deep, quiet, introspective moments. And I want to see if we can take all of that and put all of that into a build together. You know, all of the complexities and the contradictions. So let's get into it, see if that's something we can do. I'm ready to dive in. So before we fully dive into this build, I need to make a couple of things clear. I'm going to do this build wrong. Just want to be straight up about that. And so I feel the need to let you all know a couple of things that you should do if you want to do this build right. First and foremost, to get the most out of Rowdy from a damage standpoint, you should be strength-based, meaning you should build up strength and then have a two-handed weapon. because Rowdy is all about Vital Strike. And Vital Strike is going to take the weapon's damage dice for the attack twice and add the results together before adding bonuses from strength and weapon abilities. So the more strength you have, the more damage you're going to be able to do. We're going to forego all that because I care about survivability more than I care about damage. If you're not on your feet, you can't damage people anyway. And I believe that strength-based rogues are soft, for lack of a better word. So we're not going to go in that direction. Second of all, this build is all about being rowdy. DMX is just one of the rowdiest stars hip hop has ever seen. And so because of that, we're going to take this all the way to 20. Now, most people will probably tell you Rowdy isn't worth it after level 11. At level 11, you're going to get greater Vital Strike. But from 12 to 20, it's basically just a rogue. In fact, it might be less than a rogue because you're going to be missing finesse training. So most people would probably say you should take it to 11 and then flip it into something else. Now, if you want to do that, you've got a couple of options that are really good. If your main concern is your base attack bonus, which Rowdy only gets an average base attack bonus, you could head over to Slayer and choose just about any one of the Slayer options. Spawn Slayer might be really, really nice since it's based around size. And you're going to be, if you take Rowdy up to 11 first, you're definitely going to be at a point in the game where you're facing a lot more larger enemies. So Spawn Slayer gets a bonus based upon the size of the target. That could be really nice, but all of the Slayer options are going to have a high base attack bonus. So that's going to help you build up that aspect of your build significantly. Also, you are still going to get some sneak attack damage, so it is going to help you in that regard. If the most important thing for you in the other build that you take is sneak attack and not base attack bonus, then you could actually head up to Alchemist and go Vivisectionist. And then that's going to give you a lot more sneak attack dice all the way up to level 9, which is the highest you would be able to take this. So most people would probably say that combination is what you should probably go with. Again, we're going to just stick with Rowdy because this build is all about being rowdy. We're not min-maxing, but just felt like I should at least point these things out to you all. Let's move forward. I feel like I've had too many human builds, so we're actually going to do elf, because the idea of a dark-skinned, bald-headed elf that is running around causing fights and starting ruckus is hilarious to me, so let's go with it. We'll go with Racial Heritage Basic. Technically, Blightborn does more for us because we're not going to be dealing with magic at all, but I just hate the idea of DMX Blightborn? No, we're not doing that. Basic. Okay, for background, we're going to go Oblate, Martial Disciple. DMX was known for using his hands. He was known for being good in a fight. Improved unarmed strike absolutely makes sense to me. Okay, and then for attribute points, it's not quite as min-max as what I would usually like. I usually like having a 19 and whatever your main stat is going to be, but we need a little bit less so we could have an even distribution. We leave 10 on strength because even though we're not going to be using long term for the first few levels, you definitely need it. And it would be significantly more difficult to go through the early parts of the game if you just tank strength. Dexterity is going to be our main attribute, so you should be leveling up dexterity every 4 levels. 14 in constitution because we are a frontline fighter. We've got a couple of extra points, and so we just dump them into intelligence. Having the extra skills isn't going to hurt, especially since we are Trickster. Leave wisdom at 10. We don't want to dump it since it's in control of our saving throws. And then 14 in charisma. DMX was known as an extremely charismatic individual, so it doesn't feel right not to have him as someone that isn't very persuasive. Now, when it comes to skill points, we're going to take persuasion and perception, and then even though you don't have a class skill in it, I'm going to recommend that you take stealth, and then you could do what you want with the last point. Obviously, you have mobility, you have trickery, which are both going to be high because you're leveling up dexterity. You also have lower religion, which I don't recommend that you use, but honestly, you could put this last point wherever you like. For your first feat, I would recommend you take weapon finesse. So with a light weapon, elven, curved blade, estoc, or rapier, you're going to be able to use your dexterity instead of strength for attack rolls. We are going to be using an elven curved blade. For your deity, we're going to take Caden Kylian. I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce it, hope it is, but he's the god of alcohol, bravery, and freedom. And I think this folds right into the build. Again, good guys, but they got problems. And you never know when they're going to go off and start some ruckus. Great to have in a fight, but they got issues. I think this folds right into the build. Chaotic good, go with aggressive. Come on, these barking at people. I think that's about as close as we can get them with those ears. All right, so starting at level 2, we could take a weapon focus, but honestly, I'm about survivability more than damage, so let's just go with dodge. This is, again, one of them rare cases where I'm okay with taking the monk feats. DMX was known as someone who was very introspective, really believed in meditation and trying to find your inner peace, inner Tekken. Monks and a monk type stuff, I'm good with it. So we'll go ahead and take some of those feats. And then at level 3, we can go ahead and dig into the weapon focus, get Elven Curved Blade. At level 4, go ahead and grab Weakening Wound. When you damage an enemy with your sneak attack, you're going to be able to reduce their damage reduction by the amount of your character level. All the enemies that you face are going to have damage reduction, and some of it significantly limits how much damage you're able to do. So this is actually a big deal because it not only helps you, but it helps your entire party to be able to damage enemies once you hit them with your sneak attack. And at level 5, you have Piranha Strike available, and you're definitely going to want to take that because it's going to increase some of the damage that you're able to do in conjunction with Vital Strike. But personally, I think it's a little early to take the attack roll hit that you would have to eat in order to have it. So personally, I would just go ahead and focus on more defense. If you take Crane Style, it's going to lower the penalty on attack rolls that you take for fighting defensively to -2, and it's going to add a +1 dodge bonus on top of the +1 that you get from just having dodge. Dodge is one of the few bonuses that actually stacks. So you can have multiple sources of dodge bonus to your AC, and they'll all stack together. At level 6 for your rogue talent, go into combat trick, take Outflank. You all already know how I feel about Outflank. You want to take it for all of your melee characters and your archers. It's going to increase the flanking bonus on attack rolls to +4 instead of just +2. And every time one of your party members who has this feat scores a critical hit, you're going to get an attack of opportunity. Just great stuff. Significantly increases the damage output of your entire team. Now that we have a couple of more things that increased our attack rolls, I'm comfortable taking Piranha Strike. It's going to put a penalty onto your melee attack rolls, but in turn, you're going to get a bonus to your melee damage rolls. At level 8 for your rogue talent, go ahead and take Fast Stealth. So you're going to gain a lot out of doing sneak attack damage to your enemies, and being stealth is going to be one of the easiest ways to ensure all of your attacks include sneak attack damage. So you want to be stealth as much as possible. This feat will ensure that you're able to move around regularly even when you're stealth. At level 9, take Crane Wing. So now when you're fighting defensively, you're going to gain a +4 dodge bonus to AC specifically against melee attacks. So if you take this and then go into your character screen and look at your AC, you will not see that +4 dodge bonus reflected because it's not an overall bonus to AC. It's specifically against melee attacks. Also, even though it says you need to have one hand free, it counts if you're using a two-handed sword. And that's not a bug or an exploit, that's the actual tabletop mechanics that have been brought over into the game. Why it makes sense that this feat requires one hand free, but still works if you're using a two-handed weapon, I don't completely understand, but I know it's the way that it's intended. At level 10, take Double Debilitation. So at level 4, you got Debilitating Injury, which gave you access to 3 different statuses you could put onto your enemies when you did sneak attack damage to them. Bewildered, Disoriented, and Hampered. Double Debilitation allows you to put 2 of these statuses at one time onto an enemy. I recommend that you go with Bewildered, which is going to do a penalty to their AC, and Disoriented, which is going to do a penalty to their attack rolls. Penalizing both their attack rolls and AC every time you deal sneak attack damage is absolutely fantastic. Hampered, I'm not a big fan of because it targets their speed, and especially if you're playing real time with pause, I don't think it buys you all that much to try to hamper foes that you're already meeting in melee anyway, but your mileage may vary. At level 11, take Improved Critical, Elven Curve Blade. Okay, unlike most of the builds I do, we're actually going to shift over to mythic levels real quick and fill out some of those before we get back into the rest of the character levels. So at mythic level 1, you're going to choose Bit of Fun. It's going to allow you to do the mirror image spell 3 times per day. And then on the second mythic rank, you're also going to get a +3 circumstance bonus on all of your skill checks. And then at mythic level 1, go ahead and get Ever Ready. So Ever Ready is going to give you a bonus on the attack and damage roll of your attacks of opportunity equal to your mythic rank, and is going to increase the number of attacks of opportunity you can make per round by 2. So we're able to make additional attacks of opportunity because we took Opportunist. So that means every time an enemy is hit in melee by one of our party members and we're close by, we'll be able to do an attack of opportunity. And Outflank. Every time one of our party members does a critical hit, we will in turn get a free hit as well. So Ever Ready helps to ensure you're able to take advantage of all those opportunities to do additional damage every single round. At mythic level 2, you've kind of got a hard choice, unfortunately. You've got Vital Strike, which of course is going to significantly increase the amount of damage your Vital Strike is able to do. And then you've also got Weapon Finesse, which is going to allow you to use your Dexterity modifier instead of your Strength modifier on damage rolls. And obviously your Dexterity modifier is going to be significantly higher. Me personally, I would go with Vital Strike because I feel like based on all the other stuff you get, your Vital Strike damage is going to increase exponentially. And while Weapon Finesse would definitely increase your damage, it's not going to be as big a difference as taking Vital Strike Mythic is for you. And at Mythic level 3, you're about to go into Act 3, and the difficulty is going to spike significantly there. So me personally, for this build, I like going ahead and getting Last Stand, just to make sure that you can stay on your feet and keep dealing out the damage that you want to be able to. And for your level 3 mythic trick, I would go Stealth rank 1. This is going to allow you to go into stealth as a move action. And the stealth is not broken by a single enemy detecting you. Instead, it acts similar to the invisibility spell, giving you total concealment against all creatures that did not succeed on a perception check against you. Great stuff. And then for your level 1 trickster spells, I would get Reduce Person. This is going to give you a +2 size bonus to dexterity, so it's going to allow you to hit enemies easier. And I would recommend you get Expeditious Retreat, which is basically haste without the additional attack or dodge bonuses. You get one more spell, you can put it wherever you like. I would note for you though that Wand of Summon Monster 0 is how you can get the murder ponies if that was something you were interested in. And then at Mythic level 4, I would go ahead and get Weapon Finesse, which is going to allow you to use your Dexterity modifier on your damage rolls, significantly increasing the amount of damage that you can do. And then for your rank 1 mythic trick, get Perception. This is going to allow you to see enemies that are invisible and find hidden items in unexpected places. And then for your rank 2 mythic trick, I want you to go ahead and get Perception again. This is going to automatically allow you to detect creatures who attempt to use stealth, and you're going to get access to a special feat list that only tricksters can use. And for your level 2 trickster spells, go ahead and get Mirror Image and Blur. Jumping back into character levels for your rogue talent, go ahead and pick up Opportunist. For your level 13 feat, get Improved Critical. For your level 14 rogue talent, go back into Combat Trick and get Critical Focus. For your level 15 feat, get Improved Critical. For your level 16 rogue talent, get Dispelling Attack. This will have you automatically attempt to dispel a buff from an enemy every time you hit them with your sneak attack. For your level 17 feat, get improved, critical, improved. So you got improved critical at level 11, and that doubled your threat range. Now you got improved critical, which increased your threat range by 1. And you got improved critical, which again increased your threat range by 1. So all of this means you're going to be able to hit your criticals significantly more often than any other character. And now with the improved critical improved, your critical multiplier is increased by 1. So you have a massive increase to how often you can hit your criticals, and you have a massive increase to how much damage your criticals are going to do as well. When we take Mythic improved critical, that also is going to increase your critical multiplier, allowing you to do ridiculous amounts of damage. At level 18, go back into combat trick and take tiring critical. Every time you hit an enemy with a critical hit, they will be fatigued. At level 19, take crane repulse. So it's going to reduce the penalty you take on attack rolls for fighting defensively. And now when you lose your dodge bonus from crane wing, it's going to provoke an attack of opportunity. And then at level 20 for your rogue talent, go ahead and take crippling strike. When you hit an enemy with your sneak attack damage, they're going to take 2 points of strength damage. So it'll make enemies who depend upon strength, they'll be significantly harder pressed to be able to actually damage you. All right, so now that we're finished with the character levels, let's jump back into the remaining mythic levels. For mythic level 5, take unrelenting assault. For your next mythic trick, go ahead and take persuasion. It's going to demoralize enemies that start combat against you. For your level 3 trickster spells, take displacement and whatever else you like. For your level 6 mythic option, go ahead and get improved critical, elven curve blade. For your level 1 mythic trick, take lower nature. For your improved mythic trick, take the second rank of stealth. So now when you use your move action to go into stealth, it's going to be greater invisibility, allowing you to attack and still stay stealth. For your level 4 trickster spells, take chameleon stride greater. It's going to give an increase to the stealth checks for your entire party and also make all of you concealed, which is going to give you a 20% miss chance. You can use the other spell slot to take whatever you like. At mythic level 7, take leading strike, and from here on out you can take whatever you like for your rank 1 mythic tricks. And then you also get access to a greater mythic trick. I would go ahead and take stealth rank 3. You can avoid spells targeting you, so now your spell resistance is equal to your stealth bonus minus 10. For your level 8 mythic rank, get mythic sneak attacker. For your improved mythic trick, I would go with persuasion rank 2. It's going to force enemies who start combat with you to do a will saving throw with a DC of 10 plus your ranks in persuasion, and if they fail it, they become paralyzed and completely helpless. For your level 6 trickster spells, get Cat's Grace Mass and Eagle Splendor Mass. For your level 9 mythic rank, I will go ahead and get Mythic Charge. And then for the final mythic rank, I would probably get Piranha Strike Mythic. For your improved mythic trick, go ahead and select whatever you like. For your level 7 trickster spells, get Invisibility Mass and whatever else you like. Okay, so now that we've went through the character levels, let's take a look at the spellbook. At level 1, Reduced Person is going to give you a +2 size bonus to dexterity. That's obviously going to help you to be able to land your attacks. Expeditious Retreat is going to allow you to run around much faster. And then you also get a summon that you could throw out there if you need something to distract. At level 2, you get Blur. This is going to give you concealment, 20% miss chance. Great as a frontline fighter. And Mirror Image forces enemies to have to destroy your doubles before they're able to actually start hitting your health. Obviously, this helps you a great deal as well. And then depending on what kind of gear you have access to when you open up this spell level, Cat's Grace might be useful to you. It gives a +4 enhancement bonus to dexterity. So you might already have that through a belt, but you might not. And then Bear's Grace is worth noting. If the target of this spell fails its will saving throw, it is granted the grace of a bear, giving it a -8 penalty to dexterity. Obviously, you are not focused on transmutation. The DC for this is very low. It's not going to work often, but if you're in a desperate situation with an enemy that has a massive amount of dexterity, and you really need to figure out some way to bring it down so you can just flat out be able to hit it, you might want to go ahead and just give this a whirl and see what happens. Then at level 3, displacement is going to give you a 50% miss chance as if you had total concealment. Very, very nice. At level 4, obviously greater invisibility is useful for you, but you do already get the ability to make yourself stealth as a moved action. So I think it's questionable how much it's actually useful for you, but it's here. And then Chameleon Stride is going to increase your stealth bonus and give you concealment for you and your entire party. And there's reduced person mass as well, if that makes sense for your particular team. At level 5, microscopic proportions is going to give you a +6 size bonus to the dexterity score. Absolutely fantastic for you. It's going to really help you to be able to land your attacks. And then I don't think there's really anything all that awesome at level 6, at least for this build. There are some definitely great spells, but there's nothing that you're going to be able to land. So at level 7 though, there's Trick Fate. When the Fate gives your friend a challenge, you respond with a special die. For 3 rounds, the target ally always rolls 20 on all d20 rolls. That is amazing, and obviously does a ton to help your damage in this build. If we go over to inventory, again, I didn't actually roll with this type of character, so the gear is not optimized at all. I just got a regular elven curved blade, so you can get some really, really nice ones. There are exotic vendors who will specifically sell those type of items where you can get great versions, so no worries on that level. This is just a freedom of movement spell that's permanent on your character. This one, if you hit an enemy with a critical hit, they suffer a -2 penalty on saving throws against mind affecting conditions. So Nania would definitely appreciate that. +6 on dexterity from the belt. And if you confirm a critical hit, which you should be doing all the time, for 3 rounds, you get a +2 circumstance bonus to attack and damage rolls. That's awesome. The amulet gives me a +2 bonus on my highest ability score. Headpiece gives a +6 on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. I just threw that on there. Helps with the saves and helps with the charisma a bit. The goggles give you a +1 insight bonus on attack and damage rolls, as well as a +10 confidence bonus on persuasion checks. The cloak automatically makes you invisible, as if you had the greater invisibility spell every time you kill an enemy in melee. Very, very nice. And we also got +8 braces of armor because we're not wearing any armor. So cool stuff, but honestly, you could optimize this a lot more if I had decided to be this type of build from the very, very beginning. But I think you can already see that this setup could work. Okay, so now we're in a combat situation. A couple of things happened. This guy ran past me, took 57 damage from the attack of opportunity. Another person tried to run past me. That individual took 213 damage from the attack of opportunity, and that was a critical hit. Now I get to do a regular attack, so we're going to use our Greater Vital Strike. You can see that our armor class is 60. We do have a bunch of buffs, the vast majority of which we did not cast ourselves. So this build is definitely not self-sufficient. There are a bunch of things like magical vestment armor, magic weapon I definitely need because this is just a regular cold iron masterwork weapon. So by casting that, it does become a +5 weapon. Bark skin, protection from arrows, mage armor, all of these things are helping to bring up the armor rating on this character and ensure that he doesn't get ripped apart in combat. But like I said, it's 60. That is definitely respectable. They did try to hit him. This mammoth did try to hit him and missed. So let's see, you missed with attack roll of 32 and our armor class is 60. So not even close. There's no way other than a natural 20 for this character to be able to hit us. All right, and now we will do an attack. And we did a critical miss. It is what it is. It happens. Let's see what happens on the next go round. Okay, Mastodon tried to attack me a couple more times, still missed. Let's see what happens this time. All right, so we were able to hit it successfully this time. Didn't deal any strength damage, but dealt 324 damage to the Plague Mastodon. And it, of course, immediately died. And because of my cloak, I got greater invisibility as soon as I was able to kill that monster. So we're going to get closer to this one. Okay, my turn again. Nothing special happened beforehand. Let's go ahead and hit it again. And this time, once again, we were able to hit it with a sneak attack and do 344 damage. So we'll swing back around to this guy. All right, and it's our turn once again. We'll go ahead and hit this guy. And this time it was a critical hit. A critical hit did 809 damage, and it would have fatigued him if he had lived and wasn't a ghoul. And then there's an additional 37 damage just from leading strike. So I think it's readily apparent that this is a build that can do a tremendous amount of damage. And since we took the time to throw in some monk feats, it also is pretty sturdy, and someone you don't want to necessarily throw out there all by himself, but as an off tank, someone who can come behind Sealer or come behind your pet. He will do massive damage, pick off some primary targets one by one, very reliably. So that is the build. Let me know down in the comments if you have any feedback, if there's anything that you would have done differently. And reiterating one more time, rest in peace to Earl Simmons. There will never ever be another one like him. No one will have that kind of impact. And yeah, just a special place for those of us who lived during that era to see his rise in hip-hop. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like down below, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.